morning, we have been in these sessions. We have seen the keynote, which gives the overall picture of FIS innovation. We have also seen the FIS line of businesses and how your startup is going to fit into one of the building blocks or multiple building blocks in FIS. Post that, we have seen the FIS Code Connect and the FIS developer program, which gives you understanding about how do you interact with these building blocks. Now, today we are in the study session, and this study session is about what next. Once you identify your position within FIS, once you identify the integration strategy, and then your question in your mind will be, hey, what FIS can do about giving me support, not just from the technical aspects, but from the funding aspect, from the connectivity to the client's network, FIS network, along with the probably a joint go-to-market strategy, and on the innovation side, how it spawns, etc. And what are the alliance and partnership opportunities with FIS? And that's where we have assembled this this forum, where all the key representatives who are going to be related to the startup or partner ecosystem are here. So this is a single forum where you can answer questions, ask questions. So please don't hesitate to put the questions, and our team will get back to you if you don't have enough time in this current session to do those things. Let me start with the introductions. So first is Chris Berry, is a product manager at Innovation at FIS, primarily experience in formulating digital strategies for online, mobile, fintech partnerships, innovations, social media, wealth, payments, channels with financial services. Chris provides leadership, developing ideas and building new business concepts into viable markets, market-ready products and services. He's focused on developing early-stage fintech partnerships and ongoing programs for portfolio management for FIS Fintech accelerator program. So, in summary, Chris is leading the efforts for early-stage startups, and this is the reason why he's in this forum. Followed by Chris, we have Edward, who is a part of Ventures. He is a VP of Future Exploration and Venture Investments. So Ed began his career as employee number one at the startup digital agency based in London in 1999. In 2002, he founded Big Small, which leveraged early internet marketing channels for both corporates and startup clients. In 2008, Ed co-founded a boutique strategy consultancy working with legacy US-based VC funds and tech clients. This is about Ed, and Ed will be helping us to understand the FIS Impacts Ventures ecosystem and how your startups can get not just the investments, but the quality investments alongside with the connectivity to the FIS network. So then we have Mukul Agarwal, who is Alliance Head Banking Solutions Asia Pacific at FIS. So Mukul looks at the partnership management for Asia Pacific for banking solution at FIS. He looks after partnering, onboarding, joint strategy formulation, and management. Prior to this, he was in a similar role in a large fintech organization. He has strong domain expertise in financial services and understands the industry and key player very well. He is MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, India, and mechanical engineer. So the reason why Mukul is here is because those partners or startups who have reached a level where they are not worried about the funding and they are looking for some kind of alliance and partnership programs with FIS, Mukul is the right person. We have similar heads of alliance partnership program in each region. Mukul is for APAC. And the most important, John Cooney, Vice President, Technology Innovation and Modernization. So Innovate 48 brand is managed by him, and John Cooney serves as the Vice President of Modernization and Innovation at FIS. His team leads development, modernization services, provides speed track sprints teams for rapid experimentation, technology injection into businesses. John works with startups, governments, and industry working groups to deliver solutions to scale. So this is kind of a brief introduction to all the speakers. In the interest of time, we'll start with the core topics, and in case we have time after this, we'll answer the questions. If not, then we'll get back to you with the answers separately on the emails. Right? So first speaker for today is John Cooney, and he's going to talk about tech innovation and Innovate 48 brand. So John, can you give us some understanding about how the Innovate 48 brand conceptualized and what are the different flavors that we have, and how it delved into the partner edition, what is the vision behind that, and how exactly we see this experimentation going forward. So over to you, John.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Prashant, and want to say hello to everybody. Super excited for this event. I'm a big fan of the startup community and ecosystem. I started my career with my first job out of university at a startup, worked there for 5 years. It was eventually acquired by Oracle, and then I moved from there to another startup in financial services. So this audience is very, very near and dear to me. I continue to work with startups quite a bit. So as we talk about the evolution, we'll kind of talk about the different phases where those interactions occur. But Innovate in 48 as a brand this year and this event is really the inaugural event for Innovate in 48 Partner Edition. Innovate in 48 started 10 years ago. It started at SunGard, and SunGard created an event for their employees, and it was really about employee engagement, giving people an opportunity to work on something new technology, to explore fresh ideas. In 2015, FIS acquired SunGard, and we continued the event and really expanded it, made it bigger and broader across the globe. And last year, we did additional expansion of the overall program. So we started Innovate in 48 Student Edition, where we would challenge students and really start out with a partnership with various universities to invite students to work on challenges for global good. We also expanded last year into FIS Client Edition, where we went out to our clients at our client conference. And we started by asking a few questions of our clients to really make sure we were looking to understand their problems and innovate in the same space. Earlier this year at FIS Emerald, our annual client conference, we actually brought the event to the conference and had the hackathon going on during the conference event. So we invited customers into that, both for midway checkpoint and to understand how designs were coming along and what the user canvas was looking like, all the way through to the final presentation. So it was super exciting. And the evolution of Innovate in 48 really leads to Partner Edition, which is, how do we go bigger, wider, and really reach out to startups like yourselves who really are at the edge of innovation and looking at ideas and new ways of solving problems. So the objective of the program from the FIS perspective is really, it's about matching and visibility. So on the matching side, FIS, we're the largest global provider for payments. We run 10 trillion transactions a year, and really we operate at scale. So when we look at that matching, what we're really looking to do is find new and innovative solutions to problems that our clients are having and match them with the scale of FIS and the ecosystem of FIS. So we have tremendous access to other partners where we can combine and perform mashups of two innovative ideas coming from startups, or we could pair you with technology from some of our partner providers, or really just match you with the FIS ecosystem and our own platforms and rails that we run our business on. So really there's just great opportunity from a matching perspective, and a large part of that matching is for FIS to get to know startups and get to know the key players at the startups, as well as how you're viewing the client market, how you're viewing the problem space. And that's where the matching is quite valuable, in that we can provide an industry view, a view of running at scale, a view of running in a very secure environment. But we also can take items together, bring them to our client ecosystem, and find out if we're hitting the mark, if we're solving the right problems for our clients that are meaningful. So from that perspective, with respect to innovation at FIS, we're very interested in innovation, both internally, externally, at the industry level, as well as regulatory and government. So all those factors come into play. FIS recently has been named for the second year in a row to the most innovative workplaces through Fast Company. It's an area where we take a lot of pride in that. We use events like Innovate in 48 to collect these ideas, and we catalog the ideas internally that are visible to employees to vote on the ideas, as well as allow employees to kind of partner up and take an idea forward. So quite valuable to us, and we collect the ideas in a system that we call Idea Hub, and it's really about making sure that we collect ideas, collect our thoughts. Not every idea is executed upon, but it gives us that history of when somebody comes with a problem and says, have you thought about this problem space? It gives us a place to search and say, yes, we had a hackathon and we had 3 teams work on ideas in this area. You want to get with the teams and discuss, what they were thinking about, what they developed as a MVP within the event, as far as a minimum viable product or a concept to show. So all these things are really part of innovation, and innovation is really about culture and how you approach problems and the way you look at the world. And that creativity is why we're here for this event. So again, Prashant, super excited and really looking forward to today's discussion.
Thanks, John. So now that we understand the Innovate 48 brand as well as the innovation at FIS, let's move towards the FinTech Advocacy Program. And Chris, if you can give us the overview of FinTech Advocacy Program, what are the objectives and how does it connect with the investment programs like FIS Ventures? What are the bridges and what are different substream in this FinTech advocacy, which is accelerator program as well as client program, ambassador program. So all these multiple programs that are running, if you can give us a bird's eye view, and what is it what is it for startups and how they should be approaching this the accelerator program as well as other sub programs that we have. So over to you, Chris, about FinTech advocacy.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, we've been running a program called the FIS Fintech Accelerator program for the last 7 years. We're on our 7th cohort right now. And basically what we do is we select 10 companies that fit what we call a strategic heat map, or an area of focus where we're interested in exploring opportunities and new technologies, new areas. Every year we select 10 companies. As part of the accelerator program, those companies get what we call a simple agreement for future equity from us, a minor investment of $50,000 to help us gain access to what's going on their cap table, see who else is investing in there, as well as allowing us, as they grow, to provide additional investment in those companies on a strategic round. So there's a lot of opportunities with each of these companies. And like I said, over the years, we've had 70 companies come through. Out of those 70, we've had potentially, I think we're down to 6 companies have failed out of that entire portfolio. So that's a really, really strong track record for any accelerator program, nonetheless, our program. So I'm very excited about that part of it. We also do direct investment from FIS Impact Ventures, and we have over 15 investments currently with fintech companies that are in the space. And that brings us over to FinTech Advocacy, which is a new group within FIS Impact Ventures, where as we run this FIS Fintech Accelerator program and we identify those companies that we feel are going to be a good investment, FinTech Advocacy then takes over after they're invested in. And what that is a group of team of folks at FIS who have what we call a PhD in FIS. So FIS is a very large organization. There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of different people and teams that are building new innovations, as well as working with our existing products and services. And so FinTech advocates within our team help to align any of these companies with opportunities that come through it. One of the main things that we do when we go through the accelerator program with the companies that we select is we pressure test them in front of our clients. So we like to say we're client focused, solution driven. And that means that our clients really tell us whether or not these companies are worth investing in further, and giving this the opportunity for us to build a new opportunity, either from a referral, reseller, white label, or integration opportunity with our existing process. So the advocacy team helps us to pull all that information together, and we identify what we call a map. And the product map is something where we say company is slotted in for somewhere in banking services. It's maybe an ID company or something. So we find out who the product managers are, who the line of business people are, and we pitch them the company. And if it aligns with their roadmap and an opportunity to do new business, then we try and figure out how we can get that opportunity to market. And so we also have what we call the client program, where we invite our clients not only through the FIS Fintech Accelerator to pressure test these companies, but afterwards, when we have the what we call demo day, where the companies have gone through the accelerator, they've met with over 100 banks, and at that point, they are now kind of graduated, and in fintech advocacy takes over, and we introduce our clients that are really interested in them throughout that program to come up with a new opportunity to co-innovate with us and tell us whether or not this is a new product or new service that we can build to market that they would buy. And so that's where the client program kind of ties in with all of this as well.
Thanks, Chris. So just one question about the APAC focus, or how exactly the traction is in APAC, and what will be the advantage for the startups to join the partner edition? Will they get any kind of a preferred traction from accelerator program selection process?
Yeah, so our accelerator program is it accepts application from all over the world. For example, this last year we had over 150 applicants. We had 23 different countries apply. So we take applications across the world. And in this cohort, the one we just recently selected, we have 2 European companies that are focused there. We've also had companies from India, companies from Singapore, Indonesia. So we're wide open to taking applications for this program. And as FIS is a global company, we have opportunities across all of our product sets that are in different areas. So if we accept a company in from say Hong Kong or Singapore or Indonesia, that we tend to look at them as trying to break into the US market potentially, or European market, as well as we have opportunities within the Asia Pacific area to start building within our product sets as well. So
thanks, Chris. And the last question, probably the one where the Innovate 48 Partner Edition winners, they will get a preferred fast track treatment from the accelerator program. And that's where probably this is going to be a route which will get them visibility to the accelerator program as well as other programs in the past. Right? Yeah, exactly. And like I said, we had 150 applications this last time around. So it ranges anywhere from 150 to 200, depending on the year. And it is a lot of work to narrow down the companies and find the innovative solutions there. So getting a fast track here is puts you at the front of the deck. We already do some pre-vetting of the company to see whether or not it would be a fit with the strategic areas that we're focusing on. Thanks, Chris. So now that we understand the accelerator program, which is for early stage startups, and it's mainly for connecting, not just getting the token investment, but connecting to FIS ecosystem. Let's take a look at the program, which is FIS Ventures, which is for somewhere around seed to Series A. And I'd like to hand over to Ed now to talk about the FIS Ventures program and how exactly that is helping the startups in the broader ecosystem. So over to Ed.
All right, thank you, Prashant. Ed Barker here, FIS Impact Ventures. So I'll talk a little bit about our Ventures program. So it's a relatively new strategic fund, and the goal of any strategic fund is to deliver future value for the corporate, and that's what we do here. So I'll talk about three ways in which we invest in startups and what's new. So first, we make direct investments, typically C to A or B, $500,000 to $2 million checks. In the current incarnation of this program, we've made 7 investments in companies across fintech, data, AI, so adjacencies to the core FIS business. We're obviously hoping to move them through the fintech advocacy team and into FIS and client relationships later. So that's the direct investments piece. We build new cos, so we have partnerships with 2 venture studios. That's a new way of building brand new businesses, but sharing the risk with our partner. So we're aiming to build businesses at the moment in identity and other payments businesses, with Rainmaking, which is a studio in London, and with Shipyard, which is also in the UK. And there we're looking for future value that will be easier and quicker to build outside of FIS and then to bring it back in later. And then we're also an LP in various funds, in 3 different funds at the moment. That's where we invest in another venture fund that has a similar ethos and methodology and outlook to what FIS does, and has a broad base of investments and a portfolio that fit with what we're trying to achieve here. And then finally, there's my area. Although I'll talk about the whole of FIS Impact Ventures today, I specifically focus on the future. So I'm basically the in-house futurist, helping to think 5 or more years into the future. What's coming next? Why should FIS invest there? The sort of why behind the buy, if you like, and some of the strategy in our future investments and focus areas. So as Impact Ventures, it's always exciting to see new companies, of course. So I'm hoping to meet some of you over the course of this program, and who knows, you may come into our portfolio at some point in the future. Prashant.
Thanks, Ed. So Ed, about some of the examples, can we go through where FIS Ventures have invested into, and what kind of high-level things that you've been looking for? You gave pointers to those, but our audience definitely would like to know more about some specific examples and how the journey went from the top funnel to the deal flow, and how exactly it got traction, and what is the current state of some of them, how they are doing, specifically into the newer areas like crypto and the investment rounds for crypto. We'll come to that later, but if you can start with some examples that will make this particular thing more real.
Yeah, so it's easier to think about some of the direct investments we've made. Some of the new co-businesses are very new. So I'll give some examples. So for example, at least public ones. So for example, we invested in Banyan. Banyan's a data infrastructure company that works in the merchant space. So they collect real-time data, SKU level data on merchants. So what is being sold, when, what stores, by whom. And we are, for example, working with them now to look at what that data means, and whether there's new insights we can build from that. I can't go into too much details about that, but it's a very exciting opportunity. In a similar space is Data Assembly, which does merchant level pricing on, so, you know, what's on the stores, what's on the shelves, what price is it, what does this look like across various online stores, how do you compare that? We also have invested in core banking stuff. So we invested in Prime Trust, which is an API-led company that builds widgets and APIs for the crypto world, so NFTs and alternative trading systems, RAI platforms and that kind of thing. We've worked with Tesoro, which is a payment rails company, so brand new, thinking about how to connect core payments into the merchants, and so on. I think that gives a good set of examples of some of the companies we're working with. You know, our focus is on the future of the banking system, the future of commerce. We're thinking about adjacencies as well, so where payments may get embedded into new verticals, and we're thinking about transformational technologies. So where we can take technologies like blockchain and apply it into new use cases.
Thanks, Ed. So question to both Chris and Ed now. So if you have a startup and they want to understand whether they should be going with the accelerator route or they should be approaching ventures program, what will be the key points that they need to think about? So obviously, one clear key point is the early stage traction, as well as the scale at which they're operating, what they're looking on the funding rounds, etc. But in your view, these two programs are quite different. One is the accelerator program, and there's a venture program. And how does this compare and contrast, if we can take that? So over to first Chris, from your view, and then I'll come to Ed. Chris?
Yeah, sure. So our program really is focused on companies that typically have $1 million in recurring revenue, are on a growth stage. If they don't have the recurring revenue at that point, they can still be, pre-seed or seed, but they have to show a strong portfolio, or at least a strong pipeline that's coming in down the road. Their concept has to be pretty innovative, something new. Something that's different in the market, or something that we see can, gain traction very quickly. So from that perspective, we take all sides, but we prefer to have something that could be business ready by the end of the program. Now, that doesn't mean that, they have to have, $12 million or $20 million in venture-backed funding or anything like that. But, it always helps to have some kind of venture-backed funding and some kind of revenue coming in the door. So.
Right. And Ed, from your view about the venture funding, at what point these startups should be coming to venture instead of going to accelerator program, or is it somewhat kind of overlap where we have unlocking, because network is more prominent into accelerator program, and venture program it's more about funding plus network. So what's your view on that?
Yeah, good question. I don't think there's a hard line there. In fact, some of the companies that we have in the pipeline for investment have been through the accelerator. Obviously, there's a very classic due diligence process that we go through. So, multiple hundreds of companies in our pipeline at the moment. And they go through a screening process, a deeper screening process, and sometimes a technical screening before we'll think about it as an investment. We're always looking for strategic fit. So what does it mean to be invested in by FIS, and how can we drive value together, both for the startup that we're investing in and for FIS as a company? So we're looking for potential referral deals into FIS's many hundreds of banking and merchant clients, or potentially technical integration. So that strategic fit piece is important. And then, of course, a certain level of maturity. We're cutting checks that reflect the stage that they're in. Typically, we are not leading those investments, so that we don't make that public. But we work with serious tier one VCs who have invested in startups as well. Typically, the referral route is either warm through FIS, and so I look at a portfolio of investments we've made so far. They're warm leads through colleagues at FIS, or they come in through venture partners typically. Of course, we have an open door on the website at fisimpactventures.com, and so you can drop us a line there, and you'll find me on LinkedIn. So we're always open to new ideas, and of course, due diligence and screening process goes after that.
Thanks, Ed. There's a question from the audience. Since it's relevant, I will take it here. It's a generic question, so feel free to address the way you like. It's an open question. It says, how does the valuation work for investments? It's not related to FIS as a context, but we'd like to know your view, Ed.
Yeah, so like any venture, strategic or institutional ventures, the valuation process is part art and part science. So we're looking at the actual revenues and ARRs, so recurring revenues. Looking at the pipeline and how real that is. We're looking at the size of the market, and the potential growth in that size of the market. So that's always what drives valuation. Of course, there's a benchmark, so we're typically not the first investment into a company either. So there's a pricing benchmark there. We also work on a couple of other ways. This is related to this question. So where we don't directly invest in the company, we often have a call option later or a right to invest, where we're interested in the company and we're thinking about timing. And it might not be the right time to invest or right time for that company to take investment. And that's always true. And there always has to be a nice fit between the two.
Thanks, Ed. So there are like line of businesses also working with the startups. And one of the question that I had was, what's the difference between a startup approaching a line of business and working on an immediate problem, or maybe something which is more short term, or a company approaching you, which is more kind of a, let's say, strategic, right? So probably part of the answer is in the question itself, but if you can elaborate more, because there is one more track where startups, we can work with the POCs, with the startups, right? So what's the difference? Where should the startup look for if they have something which is immediately ready, or how these two options can be weighed against each other?
Yeah, well, if I could answer it like this: we do both. So we're out there hunting for startups that fit. We get referrals in from partners, but we also get referrals in from product. So that's where a company has been discovered by or is working with FIS's various product teams, and we have a very large portfolio of products there, and so we've made investments on that basis as well, and feel that there's a strategic fit with the company, of course, and that it makes sense for FIS to take an equity stake and perhaps a board seat as well. So it's both routes. Of course, if you're working with our product teams, that kind of says there's a good strategic fit, and that's a very good reason for us to get involved.
Thanks, Ed. So the next question is about once you gauge whether it's a product fit or the work with the FIS product or with ventures, the question comes for accelerator program. We have cohorts, we have very like clean process, etc., which is every year, and it starts with applications and everything. But about the ventures program, how do startups approach the venture program? Is it via a single point of entry, or is it having some specific cohorts that are there, or some different mechanism? Some part of that question has been already answered, because you're hunting startups and you're approaching them, which is the pull model. But on the push side, how will startup, if they believe that they are ready for the ventures, how do they approach you?
I mean, the best way is to drop us a line at our website, so fisimpactventures.com. You can come in the front door, and I think ventures is competitive, and so we're looking to invest in the best startups that have a good fit with what we do. We don't do hundreds per year. It's an appropriately sized fund for FIS. But it's competitive, and we're looking to meet the best startups. So yeah, come in the front door. There's a form there. You can contact us. There's an email address. You'll find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm always pretty open to connections, and although I don't lead the direct investments piece myself, I'm more than welcome to make a referral out to our colleagues.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you for giving the overall picture about this. And obviously, Ed, those startups who are going to apply for the program and get the last round, the fintech ventures will have clear visibility to them. So that's going to be kind of an accelerated visibility to the program, right? So thanks for offering that. So this overall covers the accelerator program and the ventures program. And now we'll move to the partner and alliance programs, where startups may not need funding, or they may not look for the funding at this stage, but they are looking for more alliance or partner relations, and that's where Mukul comes in. So Mukul, over to you to give first overarching picture about what is alliance partner program, and then we'll go into details about how do you classify partners, how do you qualify partners, etc. So over to you, Mukul.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me here. So I started my fintech career about 20 plus years back, way back in Mumbai. So I worked with several large fintech companies who are pretty mature with partners. So I started with sales bulkly, and then I moved into partner management just about 4 years back. So if you look from a external point of view, when you're competing against FIS, right? FIS is not externally visible as much as it should be, right? But people do recognize it's a pretty stable company with a large footprint of applications. And about 2 years back, I found this opportunity in partner management. So the difference was it was absolutely greenfield. I was told there's nothing exists, so you'll have to come and reinvent this market, right? So it was obviously a tough entry. So I had to look at both the demand side of the market and the supply side of the market. So I was told first 2 years you need to really prove this works, right? Because we're making a huge investment in hiring a senior guy and leading this. So what has happened is we started classifying the supply side into 3 buckets, right? One is obviously consultants, because in large enterprise software decisions, they either engage with PwC or KPMG or large consultants and who really influence the market. So it's extremely important for us to engage and have an early stage engagement with these. So that is the first bucket. So we have a set of consultants who we partner with. The second stage is a lot of these regional partners. So a lot of partners are engaged only inside a country. So we have a lot of partners in, let's say, Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, right? So these are pretty loyal and close to the customer. Obviously, they're small, but it does matter on how much influence they have on the customer's buying decisions. So we have about 20 such partners. And the third bucket on the supply side is this very large strategic partners like Accenture, IBM, Cognizant. So we have about 5 such partners. So first 2 years, obviously, it took us some time to build that traction, but we have reached a benchmark where we have about 40% of our pipe covered through partners in some shape and form across these 3 buckets. So we have a very important milestone. So this model is proven to be successful. So we are now started adding more headcount to enlarge this team in different markets. So pretty much it's ASEAN and Australia based right now. We haven't yet covered the North Asia, which is a different language economy, but that's where we are.
Thanks, Mukul. So what qualifies a partner? So because we have a lot of early stage startups here, as well as the startups which are on journey to Series A and somewhere around Series A as well. So how do you qualify who is the right partner or right alliance when it comes to such startups in the category that I spoke about? So is the alliance partner program only for large names like TCS, Accenture, or this for across the board? We have potential possibilities in the niche areas. If somebody is implementation partner for the FIS product, somebody is resale for FIS product, somebody has good relations. So you can just put those things in perspective. Probably the startups will get motivated towards looking at the alliance program and partner programs.
So Prashant, there's no size benchmark. We never classify partners by their size, but it's important to have an influence with the customer because we are looking at the demand side of the business, right? Whoever can influence the customer towards a vendor, that is very, very important for us. The second is the relationship with the customer, right? So we do validate, so we start with an account map and validate, how many relationships have and to what extent, right? How high they can go into the account. And we often cross-check with the customer as well. How well do they know that supplier, right? So it's both way business. So this exercise lasts 3 to 6 months. So this is the first test, which is a very, very important test, irrespective of what size the vendor is, right? Smaller the vendor, it's faster because we can engage with, a couple of guys and test it. But larger the vendor is, it becomes more complex, right? So again, we have vendors of all the sides. So we have about 20 regional partners, which indicates, they are pretty much niche in-country partners as well.
Thanks, Mukul. So next is about, since we have this partner programs and alliance programs into 3 different regions, right? What do you see as a specificity or trend in APAC region? In which areas do you see partners coming to us? And what are the interesting futuristic areas that you see, which are not right now, but which probably will get traction in next 6 to 9 months or maybe years time?
So we have just launched a new core banking software called Modern Banking Platform. It's a cloud native system which currently runs only on Microsoft Azure. And it's a new thing we have launched in APAC. We just won the first deal. So in US, we have about 20 plus deals, but it's new in APAC, right? So it's something which an enterprise-wide software which we run ourselves. We are in fact the tenant to Microsoft. So there are a lot of small components we need to embed because it's an enterprise-wide software. So it's headless. So we need a teller software, we need loan origination, we need KYC, we need host of things, right? So it's a very different scale of investment which we are doing, right? So it really opens up the world to consultants, to large system integrators, plus people who have a very good relationship with buyers at the largest scale. So I would say MVP is definitely one go-to-market which will be very strong. We'll keep expanding our go-to-market in different countries. So right now we just won the first deal in ANZ New Zealand, right? Which is the opening wicket in APAC. Now Thailand is the big way, and hopefully we'll expand into other countries as well. So that is the product number one, which is future. The other product is our enterprise payment system called Open Payment Framework. So we have about 100 customers worldwide, but payments is a strong area of innovation, which all of us know. Right? So there's a lot of demand for it. We already have customers and there is huge traction. So I would say after MVP, OPF is the second product, which will really have a strong demand for partners as well. The third is on retail payments. So if you know the switch area, so which is a strong demand. So we have a switch called IST that definitely is going to go to market. And number four, I must highlight is we are actually containerizing and moving a lot of solutions on cloud, right? So we have a very good relationship with Microsoft and AWS. So any supplier is, any partner is cloud ready, right? So that also brings in a lot of values which we can, go to market. So that's the other area which is.
Yeah. And this is overall the traction in APAC. Anything specific you'd like to say about India? Because many of the startups who applied in this program is Indian startups. So any suggestions or any patterns that you see in India specific geography?
See, India is a strong focus on retail payments, right? So I mentioned our IST switch. So that is an important go-to-market focus in India. Plus fraud is a big market there, right? So we have a fraud solution which goes with IST as a component. And the third is card management. So we have Cortex, which is debit card issuing system. So these three individually can be sold, which is a strong area. And plus what we have done is, because a lot of small fintechs which want to get into retail payments, right? So we have joined all 3 or 4 solutions together and hosted them on our cloud in India. So we have a component called Retail Payment as a Service called RPAS, which is sold as a SaaS solution on, it's basically pay as use. It starts from very low volume as the first take, and you don't have to invest in any installation of the software and have your own data center. So that's a strong focus in India. And the second is even retail lending, right? So we have a core banking system called Profile. So if somebody wants to just run the lending business, we do cooperate by offering lending management from Profile and couple it with loan origination and collections from third parties. So that is the other area of focus in India.
Thanks, Mukul. Now we'll come across some questions which are kind of open for taking to all the speakers. The reason I'm putting these questions is some of the questions that we received from the startups who are applying, aligning towards more emerging tech areas, specifically into Web3 areas where we have broad kind of agenda, which is decentralization and it's changing every nook and corner of innovation. So starting with Chris, have you seen in the accelerator program any presence of Web3? Or do you anticipate there will be more traction in these areas from the accelerator program side? And what's your view about the Web3 ecosystem and the opportunities in the Web3 from the accelerator program and the startups who will be applying or who have applied or who probably are Web3 already?
Yeah, we've seen a few that come through that are pretty interesting, mostly on the blockchain side of things, crypto side of things, but not so much in the meta yet. I think we're going to start seeing some of that come through, especially if we can get banks interested in starting to play in that space. I think that's the hardest part is like most banks are very conservative and they don't understand what that is. And they don't, they see all the headlines around how some of these technologies may be higher risk for them. So, as a risk management organization, as a bank, it's hard to get into that space. But we do see some of those applications that come through. We did have a few applications on the NFT side that came through, which was pretty interesting. But I think once again, the end user clients that come through here probably aren't ready for that yet. But it's definitely on the horizon, and we're starting to see applications.
Right. Thanks, Chris. So I'm getting a sense, if I look at the accelerator portfolio, I should be able to get some kind of a barometric understanding about what is traction in the FIS client ecosystem or overall fintech client ecosystem. Will it be right to say that if I look at the selections that you're done, these are battle tested with the customer needs as of now, and these are the areas which are currently something which are getting traction, and something probably with the futuristic probably is not there in list. So will you be saying, so like if I look at the 10 startups that you have selected, these are indications of the trends which are current and they are battle tested already, and something which is similar to that has a potential in the fintech market? Will that be the correct statement to make?
Yeah, I think so. We are focused on, client focused, solution driven. So it's one of those things where, as we look at these applications coming through, we identify if there's new innovations within the specific strategic areas that we're focused on. And so, for example, one of the new companies right now is called Connect Earth. Connect Earth is focused on, climate change and managing carbon offset. So that's a new trend there, and we're putting that in front of our banks, and so we want to see what the reactions are from the banks that see it. So yeah, we're definitely you can take a good look at our portfolio and see all the areas we focus, but it does range. It's a very wide range of different companies that are out in market. So
right. One last question, Chris, to accelerator program. So is it only the fintech startups that we are looking for? Is it something which is nearing to fintech? They are horizontal solutions. So what sort of overall in last 70 investments that you have done, what sort of classification will say? Will you be investing into across or have you invested into across the verticals, or there are only vertical focuses?
No, definitely across vertical as well. So, for example, one of the companies in this year's cohort is called Redactable, and we're taking a kind of a chance on them and wanting to see what our banks how they react to it. But Redactable basically redacts private data directly from any documents that you have, and so it's auditable. It runs on a platform that allows for the who, what, when, where, why, how information is captured on why something was redacted from a document. And it was interesting, the main competitor to them, she says, is a Sharpie pen, right? So when you're redacting documents, it's a very simple thing, but when you get down to audit and looking at opportunities to provide a trail of why and when and where this data was taken out of something, it really becomes valuable. And so that's mostly something you see in like legal contracts and things of that nature. So it's an adjacency, as Ed was talking about, that we're looking to explore with them, and so hopefully something that banks will pick up on and want to actually purchase. Thanks,
Chris. Now, Ed, over to you. The Web3 ecosystem, in fact, one of the key areas the applications are coming in are on Web3, and the question is always about, hey, do we invest from token side, or do we invest in equity, or how this space is going to go? And the way the investments happening are going to be very different in the TradFi and the DeFi world. So what's your view about that? And have you done any investment from token route so far, or are we open for that? Or what are the areas that the Web3 companies should be looking at when they're looking for venture funding as such?
Sure. I don't believe we've done a token offering, but let me answer the question like this. Web3 is everything, right? So it's a general purpose technology which will be applied to many sectors, and we're very interested in financial flows, data and information flows, the identity around those data and information flows, and the security around those data and information flows. And I think the pattern of both our investments and our pipeline kind of reflect that. So hopefully that's a not too broad answer to your question. We from my point of view, looking further out, Web3 is also, obviously very critical to how the internet ecosystem develops, and there's an interesting way that it can change the financial dynamics by providing rapid liquidity to a network through the tokenization of digital assets in some way, right? So it's very much on the radar. It might not be right now for all of our investments, although I know there are some Web3 focused companies in our pipeline that we're looking at. And so it's a super interesting area. The question, I think, comes back to what Chris said, strategic fit with FIS and the right kind of timing.
Thanks, Ed. So with that, I think we have covered all the areas that we wanted to cover today. And I'd like to reiterate that Partner Edition is kind of a gateway program where you'll get visibility to all programs at one same time. Obviously, you're free to connect with individual forums at any time you like, but this is one of the additional opportunities where you will be able to surely get a visibility and first front of the queue. And that's where we'll be kind of focused on Innovate 48 Partner Edition. This is inaugural first event, and we are hoping that we have a large number of startups who are applying here. So far, we have got a very good traction. It's equally divided into 3 tracks: data innovation, along with AI and fintech, as well as the Web3 assets. With that said, since there is a time constraint on this forum, 25th is the last date for the applications. Please make sure that your applications reaches ahead of the schedule, slightly ahead of the schedule, if you want to get access to FIS APIs, and if you want to get some more advice from this forum as such. So with that, I will probably close for the session and kind of summarize the journey that we have taken and the next slot and how exactly it's going to explore. So we started with understanding FIS line of businesses so that startup can understand where exactly they fit in FIS ecosystem. Then we went into the FIS Code Connect APIs and the developer APIs to understand how to interact with these blocks. And we now have understood to some extent what are the areas where FIS innovation programs can come together and help the startup ecosystem to grow further. Now, in the next sessions, which are track-specific sessions, where you will be able to go deeper into digital assets, data innovation, as well as AI and fintech. And these sessions are going to be from the strategic guys at FIS who actually deal with the formation of these strategies across the three segments that we have. So stay tuned for the next 3 sessions, and hope to see you tomorrow, where we will be opening the session to the industry speakers, where we were talking about regulators, specifically MAS. Sapnendu Mohanty will be here talking to us about the APAC gateway. He's a CTO for MAS, and he'll be talking to us about how things are evolving on regulatory scale. We have a focus discussion on identity, which is going to be very critical, because one of the focus areas that Ed just spoke about is identity, and how identity can be linked with the data ownership, and how that data ownership can be linked into the AI as well as analytics, and how that can be monetized for not only individual guys, but the enterprise as well, and how that space is evolving to fine-tune the credit, which is right now just plain vanilla, but customized credit for each individual, each SME, each looking at not just the assets they have, but the liabilities they have, alternate data that we are coming in. And all this ecosystem is not just in the banking payments, but how it connects into the merchant side as well, in the larger ecosystem, is something that we have understood in the previous session. Now, these all things are linked into tomorrow's part as well, in Identity Web3, where you will have a opportunity to talk to all the great guys in the identity space, right from Polygon, right from Earth ID, right from the Hedera guys who are going to come, who are our partners for Web3, along with the key industry leaders from fintech, who will be talking about how the industry is growing and which areas and which patterns they are seeing from that. So again, thank you very much. And within the next 5 minutes, we have the next session. So please join that in your platform. There is another slot there for those sessions. Thank you, everyone, and thanks for this forum. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mukul.
Bye now.
Brett.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.